Yo, what's up, Radicle Narrative listeners? I am your host, Mylan.app, coming online to upload a podcast for you on December 24th. I tried really hard to figure out a cool, unique episode where we could deconstruct Christmas or come up with like an anti-capitalist critique, anti-colonial critique. It never really panned out, simply because this holiday season and this break on the Western timeline is really important in terms of rest for people. I really hope each and every one of you are getting your rest in terms of your body resting, your mind resting. I know a lot of our listeners are students and you completed your finals. That's great. I know also a lot of our listeners are instructors, and I know you probably are still grading some finals. Good luck to you. I know that some of our family systems do celebrate Christmas and the holidays. That's cool. That's great. Do you. No shame. However, I also acknowledge that some of our listeners do not have safe family systems, and I encourage each and every one of you to keep your body safe, keep your mind safe, keep your morals and ethics intact the way you see fit. I also want to acknowledge a lot of our listeners have no religious, spiritual, or social connection to Christmas. That's great too. You're welcome to the Radicle Narrative family as well. And we had some great conversations online together. And the fact of the matter is, me personally, as your host, Mylan.app, I'm more interested at this point in my life on how and why people do not celebrate Christmas, as opposed to having to rationalize or justify celebrating Christmas. From the indigenous perspective, we do know we have a history of residential school. We do know that we have a history of colonialism that existed in North America under various European projects tied to churches. The unfortunate reality during the residential school era was that Christmas time was a time where children are allowed to go home in some places, where families were allowed to go and see their children again in some places. So Christmas time is not exempt from a critical conversation. In fact, I think it's required to have a critical conversation on why we celebrate these holidays and where do they stem from, because the unfortunate reality is that it does have a colonial history. And I do not want to approach this conversation from a place of toxic positivity. And also, we observe the fact and the reality that settler colonialism is happier this time of year. They are more joyous. They tend to smile at you and say Merry Christmas as opposed to stereotype you. And I personally believe that Christmas was introduced to us through colonialism, obviously, and obviously through residential school. So it's a unique time of year. I would go so far as to highlight it as unique. And again, we're not necessarily talking about an anti-capitalist critique here, simply acknowledging the fact that as Indigenous people in North America, we have trauma tied to colonialism. Therefore, obviously, Christmas time is not exempt from a critical analysis. I just want to foster that conversation here today. And it would exist under very specific, unique parameters that may not be true for you, that may not be true for your history or your family history. However, there is a legacy here we have to be mindful of. It's a lot for us to think about and navigate and unpack. And I know a lot of you out there, in terms of being listeners of Radicle Narrative, have the critical consciousness to look at things and be like, this doesn't add up in my books. That's great. That's cool. I'm here for that also. I'm down to have conversations about that in terms of how we're choosing to navigate this. If you follow me on Facebook, you most likely seen some of my posts reflecting on this holiday season and time of year. I think the reality for me too is also I wanted to come on and acknowledge those of you who are struggling for whatever reason. Some people may have experienced loss. I do know some family systems changed. This holiday season may not be as easy as it was in the past, and that a lot of you will be sitting in grief. And make time for yourself to process that. Make time for yourself to ride the waves this holiday season, because again, coming on here to acknowledge what is not mainstream. And that is basically that this is a trying and challenging time for a lot of critical thinkers out there. It's not easy for people who've changed for the better and bettered their lives, and will have to sit at the table with people who remember the old you. Keep yourself safe, keep your body safe, keep your mind safe. It's not easy for those of you who may be struggling to make financial ends meet. It's not easy for all of us out there who, again, are dealing with oppression and trauma under colonialism. It's not an easy time of year. I want Radicle Narrative to hold space for each and every one of you and let you know that you are not alone, that you could reach out to your healthy support systems, and that ideally you identified resources. And the fact of the matter is, people, Omicron is here. It looks like we're going into, another wave, into another potential season of lockdowns, and that's going to come with it, again, a lot of mental health challenges and issues. So again, enjoy the time you have in terms of the break you have. If you're struggling, feel free to reach out to your support systems. Feel free to reach out to those who love you. If you're just doing okay and coasting through, that's awesome. That's cool too. For those of you who don't have any specific tie to Christmas, I really enjoy our conversations. We'll talk again soon. You're all part of the Radicle Narrative community, and we are coming out with some unique features to try and get us to connect online. We're also working on our episodes to get out to you. There's a few episodes coming down the pipeline, but again, as I acknowledged in the beginning of this rant, rest is important. And I want each and every one of you to get the rest you need, the rest you deserve, to recharge and get ready for term 2, to recharge and get ready for going back to work, to recharge and get ready to go out there and shift and create the change that the world needs. Thanks for listening to this little bonus episode that's coming out here on Christmas Eve on December 24th. If that's just a day for you, that's awesome. But I did want to come online. One of the reasons why I wanted to come online was to timestamp this year, because I want to get some unique, cool episodes next year that are a little bit more critical of the holiday season. So that gives us a year to plan ahead and get some good quality content out there for each and every one of you. And it's been an amazing year for Radicle Narrative. We've continued to grow. We've launched some unique, cool episodes that got some new viewers. Our audience is growing, and we like to see that. But even on the personal front, I know it's been challenging for our Radicle Narrative team. We have a new team member we'll be introducing in future episodes. We're going to continue to grow. But again, the personal struggles are very real for each and every one of us during the pandemic, and for, I'm sure, a lot of you out there who are struggling. Again, that's why I wanted to come on and kind of do this mental health check-in for each and every one of you and give you the reassurance that we're here. We're going to be bringing you episodes. One of the cool things I remember someone saying is that they listen to Radicle Narrative while they're doing things they love, like art and beadwork and stuff like that. That stood out to us. We really appreciate that. So we do want to continue to get episodes out to you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Go back and catch up to the podcasts that you may not have listened to. They're still available to you. And again, we'll see you soon. Ideally before the new year. However, if not, after the new year. With that in mind, stay safe, be strong. We'll talk to you soon. Again, feel free to reach out to me online, on Instagram, on Facebook. I want to say, and stay tuned and listen in, but I can't say that because it's a bonus episode. I don't know. Just enjoy your time. Be sure to get rest. We'll talk soon. Peace out.